Asserter. I was like, oh, this is great. So why don't you come first, and then we'll do a second exemplar in a minute. Okay, so this is Dolly. Dolly, why don't you introduce yourself, what you do, and we're gonna.
So when I took this quiz a while ago, part of it was also that asserters don't need a mic. We're loud enough that we will make sure that everybody hears us. So that was the first thing I learned, and everybody was like, Dolly fits into that bill. So my name is Dolly, and I work for PayPal. I'm a user experience designer, and we actually did this exercise as part of our team building exercise for the whole group, and we broke people down into groups, and it was a lot of fun. As an asserter, I don't know what I can say. I don't let anything stop me from what I need to get to. So I set my goals, I decide what needs to get done or where I need to be, or whoever works with me, I need to understand where they need to get. And then it's all about drawing on the paper, whiteboarding, whatever it takes, even whether I'm planning somebody's life or whatever it is. But I don't have to stick to a method, I don't have to stick to a process, I don't have to stick to a team. I would just go for it. It does not matter. So anybody who tells me there are risks involved, it's not that I'm blind to it, but it's just that, just tell me the risk, and that again becomes a problem to solve. So everything is a problem to solve, which is exciting, but it's a lot of fun too. So at certain level, I can take care of anything. That's how I feel about myself. So.
And I love how she ended saying, I can take care of anything, because a big thing for asserters is self-reliance. So the sense that she can do it herself. You know, of course she needs help from others and has a vulnerability like anyone else, but compared to other personality types, it's a very strong desire for self-reliance. Okay, so now what does this mean about career? I'm going to read 5. Maybe wrap around this way. Okay, so here are the 5 strengths that we identified for the asserter, specifically that would relate to your career. So I'll read them off, and then I'll let you think about it and choose your top 2. And then we're going to see what does that mean for you, okay? So the first is competitiveness. How strong is your desire to win, including the willingness to engage in conflict in order to do so? Leadership, to what degree do you guide the group to decisions and make quick decisions yourself when that is called for? I'll just read them off first, and then I'll hand you the book so you can think about it. Or actually, let me let you look at that. I'll look at someone else's book. Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay. And then, so she's thinking about this right now. The third one is logical thinking. How carefully and methodical are you in determining facts? And by the way, these are specific to the asserter. So if you have a different personality, you have 5 totally different questions. Protectiveness. How strong is your drive to help and defend other people? And finally, self-reliance. To what degree do you rely on your own capabilities, judgments, and resources rather than on those of others? So let's let Dolly, do you already know what your top 2 are?
Protectiveness comes first. So protectiveness comes first, and leadership, the next one. And everything else is pretty high on my list, but when I have to prioritize, these 2 come up on the top.
Okay, great. So let's talk about this specifically for your role, because, I mean, when I think of protectiveness, I think of like a fireman or something like that. But I'm sure that you use protectiveness right now in your work. Maybe you're protecting the regulations at work, or you're protecting some kind of brand standards or something, or maybe the budget. So how does that play out in your career?
So the role that I have right now is basically I'm the brand and standards lead for PayPal.com, and anybody who's here from E-Trade knows that that's the last thing I did before I left. And I actually create that job for myself. So in both these places, it was non-existent, and the role was non-existent as a person who not only, it's not about the role of audit or defining the best principles or guidelines. I actually take it a step further in actually making sure that it is a very interactive process. It's not only about you see a link on a site where you go there and check out the best possible way to implement certain things. I want it to be an engaging process. I want to make sure that it is something that everybody can use, but not just because I said so, because we all collectively think that it matters. One of the first things I did when I first got into a career after my college days is I did not call myself a designer. I did not call myself a user experience or UI designer or whatever. I call myself a user advocate. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I am safeguarding the user needs and providing the best possible solution.
That's really great. And so I've worked with a lot of designers, and you're going to have people in design of all different personality types. So the specific thing about Dolly, she's a user advocate, so she's a certain kind of design, and everyone's going to be customer-centric or user-centric in her field, but she's going to be even more of a user advocate perhaps than the person next to her, because she's able to really advocate in a confident way within the organization and may be able to take on even some challenge, some conflict that someone else may not want to take on. She's going to take it on if she's fighting for something, for basically truth and justice as it's defined in her field. Did you have a comment?
Yes. She said she created her own job.
Oh.
Would that be a common thing?
Created her own job. That's going back to the self-reliance, that she's doing it her own way, and there's no reason why other types can't also create their own jobs, but hopefully you're kind of getting a feel for how Dolly does that. And in some organizations, that's not okay. Maybe some firms are not going to let her do her own thing. So she may need to leave that organization and go to a corporate culture that's really going to honor and appreciate that.